What's going on, YouTube? No, seriously, what's going on? How's life? How you doing? How you been? How you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're gonna be watching another Mr. Nightmare video. I'm excited to be scared. Even though the last one didn't really scare me, I'm thinking this one might scare me a little bit. This video is titled 3 Creepy Disappearances You Haven't Heard Before. Now, things disappearing, that is kind of creepy. You know what? He's right. And 3 that I haven't heard before, that's gonna be pretty challenging because I feel like I've heard a lot of disappearances in my life, and I feel like there isn't many disappearances in the world, right? Guess we're gonna find out. We're gonna hope that we get scared today. If you guys are ready to get scared, then let's begin. If you're not ready, get ready. All right, prepare yourself to be in fear for your life. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? Unexplained disappearances. I'm already shivering.
September 24th, 1971 was the last day at the time 16-year-old Kathy Marie Moulton was seen. Kathy planned to attend a dance during that night in her hometown of Portland, Maine.
Never heard of
She
this.
asked her father to drop her off on Cumberland Avenue that evening. Kathy wanted to purchase a pair of pantyhose and some toothpaste before preparing for the dance. She stopped by
She needs pantyhose and toothpaste. All right.
a music store on Forest Avenue later in the day to visit a friend.
Oh.
She told her friend she would see her at the dance that evening, and
Okay.
then said she was going to walk home. It was about 1.5 miles away. She was last seen walking down Forest Avenue.
1.5 miles walk. That's what people used to do back in the day. Back in the fucking 70s. They used to walk home 1.5 miles.
After leaving
Come
the
on,
music
man.
store, and she was seen carrying a brown leather Mexican clutch purse, which contained
That's just
her house
asking
key,
for it at this
2
point.
tubes of toothpaste, and a very small amount of cash. When she didn't arrive home by dinner time, her parents knew something was wrong and reported her missing. Kathy was seen in a stolen blue Cadillac with her friend named Lester Everett, though it is possible that Kathy willingly left with him. There were reported sightings of Kathy, Lester, and another young man in a remote area of Aroostook County a few weeks after her disappearance. The second young man was Ronald Reed Purley. However, Lester was eventually found alone, and he claimed to not know where Kathy was. A garage employee at Fort Fairfield in Aroostook County remembered seeing Kathy, Lester, and Ronald. They came to the garage to buy new tires for the Cadillac. The employees said Ronald appeared to be controlling Kathy's movements, even walking her to and from the bathroom with his hand on the back of her neck. Across the
Hand on
border
the back of her
Toby
neck?
Reserve, witnesses said they saw Lester and Kathy for a few days in September 1971 before the two went to a farm in the
It was
Martinsville
Mo
area of
Lester.
Aroostook County, where they started working on a potato field at McBride's farm. Kathy was completely distrusting of Lester and continually begged to go back home to Portland, which he refused. Kathy befriended a teenage girl who worked on the fields. The girl said Kathy was nervous about her parents being upset with her, and that they were probably looking for her. According to the girl, Kathy also cried often and seemed fearful of the other men working on the farm.
What happened? 2 guys took her to some random place, and now she's working on a potato farm? What is going on? Like, the 70s was a whole different fucking universe, I feel like. Like, this shit just happens. I've been kidnapped, and now I'm working on a potato farm for the rest of my life, so.
She often said she wanted to go home. Lester became tired of Kathy's constant complaining to go home. So on the evening of September 29th, 1971, while the other field workers were enjoying a bonfire, Lester got behind the wheel of the stolen car with Kathy in the passenger seat, and he told her that they were going for a ride. She begged him to drive her back home, but he didn't. Lester returned the next morning and said that he had dropped her off at another camp, when in reality, he had brought her back across the Canadian border to the Toby Reserve and left her with Ronald. At the end of the potato harvest, Lester and a few others left for Florida to pick oranges. He never returned to Maine, and when questioned, he said he did not know what happened to Kathy. Lester died of cancer in the mid-1980s, at the age of 35. Ronald, who had served time for rape and home invasion, has long been a prime suspect in this investigation.
Rape and home invasion. And he was left alone with a woman that disappeared. Really, bro? Who do you think did it?
He has refused to cooperate with police, even when he was offered immunity.
He
for
refused
prosecution
to
if he would
cooperate.
provide details as to what happened to Kathy.
He was offered immunity? And he still didn't say shit?
Investigators have considered the possibility that Kathy was killed by Lester and that he left her body in the woods of Aroostook County. But this theory is unlikely.
Wait, I missed
What
it.
happened to Kathy? Investigators have considered the possibility that Kathy was killed by Lester and that he left her body in the woods of Aroostook County. But this theory is unlikely, since some of Ronald's relatives would later verify the fact that Lester had dropped her off at their home, and they would claim that one of their relatives had harmed her. It's unknown if this is what happened. His family has refused to cooperate with police about Kathy as well. Investigators believe she died on the Tobique Reserve sometime before Thanksgiving of 1971, but they never had enough evidence to file charges against anybody, or even get warrants to search Ronald's family home. In 1983, a hunter said he came across a skeleton in the woods near Smyrna, Maine, surrounded by female clothing. Some investigators believe the remains were Kathy's. The hunter was unable to retrace his footsteps and lead police back to the site, however, and the bones were never seen again.
What?
Kathy was a junior at Deering High School at the time of her disappearance, and her peers said she seemed like a happy girl with no reason to run away from home. Her father died in 2017, but her mother is still alive and continues to hope for a resolution in her case.
I don't think there's going to be a resolution. That's just terrible. How did any of this occur? How did she get kidnapped, taken to a potato farm where she was working until Lester was like, all right, bitch, you keep bitching and moaning and complaining, so I'm finna drop your ass off with my boy Ronald. And Ronald, you already know he's on that fuck shit because he's already been charged with rape and home invasion. So, and his family's like, yeah, she was here. Yeah, one of our relatives harmed her, apparently. He didn't even explain that. I don't know what that was about. And then she was just never seen again. And the police don't have enough evidence to charge anyone at all. Like, bro, there's evidence by all these people saying that she was left here with you guys, with your family, and now she's gone. So you guys have to know where she's at. Really, bro? And then the fucking dude found a skeleton with woman's clothes in the woods, and then he forgot where it was at. Bro must have been just like high. I bet he didn't even see nothing. He was just high. Terrible.
Mary Virginia Carpenter was a 21-year-old girl from Texarkana, Texas, who went missing in Denton in the summer of 1948. She was last seen by a taxi driver around 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 1st, 1948. She left her home in Texarkana and took a train to Denton, 6 hours away. At the station, she took a taxi to the Texas Women's University, where she was planning to complete a summer term. She transferred from the University of Arkansas after she decided she wanted to enter a different career field. Mary first enrolled in the Texas Women's University during the 1945 to 1946 school year, and then took a break from school to help her mother who had fallen ill and to save money. Mary once again enrolled in the school for the 1948 summer term, where she planned to begin training as a laboratory technician in the autumn, but she disappeared just before the summer term began. The cab driver who had seen her last, Edgar Ray Zachary, later stated he stopped in front of Brackenridge Hall, a building on campus, at 9 p.m., and Mary gave him a ticket for her trunk and paid him $1 so he would pick it up for her from the train station the next day. Edgar stated that after she got out of the taxi, Mary approached two young men standing near a yellow convertible that he believed to be a Pontiac. Edgar stated that one of the men were tall and the other one was chunky. Mary approached the men as if she...
One tall, one chunky? Terrible duo.
...knew them and began to speak to them, and Edgar, assuming they were just her friends, drove away. She never checked into her dorm in Brackenridge Hall and was never seen or heard from again after this moment.
Wow.
Some of Mary's former boyfriends stated she became infatuated easily and speculated that she ran away with a lover, but her family did not believe that she would leave without telling them, as Mary was very close with her family and it would just be completely out of character. She had previously been engaged, but broke off the relationship just weeks prior to the wedding. Police zeroed in on her boyfriend Kenny Branham and the cab driver Edgar. Kenny passed the polygraph tests and insisted that Mary would have no reason to run away. She didn't have a lover coaxing her to run off, no jealous exes, no wishes to leave her life behind. Kenny was also the first to report Mary missing to her mother, making his involvement unlikely. On top of that, Mary was looking forward to starting her semester at college. This led investigators to conclude that she had been taken. Police shifted their attention to Edgar and learned he had a record for petty crimes and a reputation for being abusive. He was charged with attempted rape in 1957, but the charge was dropped after the victim asked authorities not to prosecute. Edgar's wife stated he had been home with her from 10 p.m. onwards on the day Mary disappeared, but 10 years after her disappearance, his wife told police she lied to them, and her husband had not actually arrived home until 2 or 3 a.m. that night.
Dang, are you serious right now? You lied to the police about what your husband was doing, and then ended up telling them anyway 10 years later? Really, bro?
Died in 1984. He was never charged in connection with Mary's case, but he remains a suspect, although he did pass 2 polygraph tests in her case. In the winter and spring of 1946, 5 people were murdered in Lovers Lanes in Mary's hometown of Texarkana. Lovers Lane is a secluded area where people kiss or engage in sexual activity in their vehicles.
Oh.
This meant all 5 victims were young, around Mary's age. The crimes are believed to have all been committed by the same person. The murderer was never caught and became known as the Texarkana Phantom Killer.
It's a long-ass name. No one's going to remember that.
With 3 of the killer's victims,
Sorry.
creating suspicion that her case was linked with these murders. But police found no evidence to support this theory. In 1998, police received a tip that 2 men had raped and killed Mary shortly after her disappearance and buried her body in a dam at a stock tank near the Texas Women's University campus. The suspects were both deceased by this time, however. Police investigated this dam based on the information, but uncovered no evidence. Numerous leads and possible sightings of Mary have surfaced throughout the decades, but no solid evidence has been uncovered. Both of Mary's parents have passed away, and she was an only child, but her 3 cousins still hope to find closure in this case one day. Like Mary, Army veteran Alvin Matlock was also 21 years old.
Alvin Matlock.
Missing in the spring of 1950.
That's a fucking celebrity name, is it not? Alvin Matlock. That shit goes hard. Look how he's standing too. Look how he's standing. Like, oh my god, he's a thug.
There were a lot of theories as to what happened to him, but none of them were pleasant. Alvin was last seen in Spokane, Washington, and at the time of his disappearance, he lived in a cabin on Browns Mountain in Spokane County. His little brother Clyde, who was 12 years old when Alvin disappeared, is now 83, and to this day still hopes his brother's body is found. Clyde and his wife Patricia went to the inaugural missing person event hosted by the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office in 2016. At this event, which was held to help facilitate locating missing people, attendees could file police reports, submit DNA and dental records, and provide photographs of loved ones. Alvin had spoken to family members in March and informed them of his cabin's location. As far as his disappearance, his family first suspected something wasn't right when Alvin didn't show up to the family dinner on Thanksgiving Day, 1951.
He didn't show up at Thanksgiving?
His mother drove to his cabin on Brown Mountain.
Maybe he was just like, fuck that. Fuck Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying? Fuck Thanksgiving. Yeah, the food's good, or it's okay at least, but you gotta hang out with all your family all day long. Like, come on, man. I just want to chill in my cabin, my little brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just want to chill in our cabin and just live our lives. I'm Alvin Matlock, for God's sake. All right? I don't give a fuck about Thanksgiving dinner.
To find the cabin empty and both of his vehicles gone.
Both of his vehicles gone? So did he drive away, or did he get murdered and then someone took both of his cars? How would they take both of it? Never mind.
A neighbor that he had quietly packed up and gone to Alaska. Clyde and other family members believed this for a while, mostly because they wanted to.
He quietly packed up and went to Alaska? Okay. I mean, that's something Alvin Matlock would do. I see it, so I guess it makes sense.
But as the years passed and there was no contact from Alvin, it became clear he was not in Alaska.
How is that clear? Just because he hasn't contacted y'all? Maybe he said, fuck you guys, forever. I'm going to Alaska. I'm never coming back. I'm never talking to any of y'all again. Maybe.
The story going around was that Alvin was having an affair with a married woman and had got into a fight with the woman's husband when he found out about what was going on.
Uh-oh.
Some people believe
Alvin would do something like that too, I'm not gonna lie.
That the woman shot Alvin during the scuffle, with reports from alleged neighbors saying they heard his cries for help and that the couple just likely let him die. There was no body ever found. Police investigated these claims, but with no body, they couldn't...
Where did his cars go? Where did his cars go?
Any arrests. There are no records of Alvin ever having lived in Alaska. However, according to family, Alvin was a loner and a big outdoorsman.
Yeah, he went off the fucking grid.
And him moving to Alaska wouldn't be that far-fetched. especially since life in Alaska wouldn't really be that far off from the lifestyle that he was living in his cabin on Browns Mountain.
Facts.
Still, with no records of Alvin living in Alaska and the complete cease of contact from Alvin's end, it still just doesn't add up, and some suspicion was also placed on the neighbor, who reported that he moved to Alaska. Patricia Matlock had done some detective work of her own, trying to find new leads and track down possible witnesses, but it was all to no avail. During the missing person event back in 2016, all Clyde could do was hand over some photographs of his brother and provide his DNA, in the hopes that someday his brother's remains would be found and identified.
Alvin's probably still in fucking Alaska, living his fucking best life. So, that was 3 creepy disappearances you haven't heard before. I don't know if they were really scary. I mean, the last one wasn't even kind of creepy. The last one was actually kind of dope. Like, bro just said, fuck this shit, I'm out of here, I'm going to Alaska. Which we don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like it is true. I feel like he definitely took his ass to Alaska, cut all of his family off, and he said, you know what? I'm living off the grid for the rest of my life. I'm gonna by myself. I'm gonna go hunt for fucking Alaskan deer, whatever they got up there in Alaska. I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna fish. Oh yeah, you can fish. You know, some ice fishing, whatever they do. Yeah, he probably lived a chill life. Chill. Get it? Okay. I guess the first one was kind of creepy. Oh yeah, and the second one. So that was Mr. Nightmare. 3 creepy disappearances you haven't heard before. I haven't heard any of them, so I guess he was right. If you guys like this video, like the video. If you guys want to subscribe, then subscribe. Comment down below if you want me to react to anything specific, or comment just to say what's up. I hope you have a great day. Have a great, I don't know what time it is that you're watching this, but, have a great lunch, dinner, breakfast, maybe. Have a great sleep. Have a great shower, bath. Brush your teeth. Brush behind your ears whenever you're in the shower. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.